This is James Diamond, and a couple years ago I gave him this horn here to identify, and I thought he wouldn't know what it was, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell us about this horn here.
Well, this horn came from a cow in Africa. That's a part of the tribes that are nomadic in nature. The Fulani people in West Africa own these cattle. And this particular breed of cow is noted for its ability to walk long distances and be able to survive on dry, arid areas and go long times without water. And also, these cattle are very tolerant to tick-borne diseases and some of the other diseases that's available. For instance, streptococcus, that's a disease that they're tolerant to. And so this is a very popular breed amongst the Fulani people, and they'll walk with these cattle on what they call a transhumance. And that means that they'll take their cattle and they'll walk maybe 50, 60, 70 miles to the west, and then they go south 100 and some miles, and they go west maybe another 60 or 70 or 80 miles, and they come back north again. And they have a scalp up ahead of the herds. And now when I say herds, I'm saying that plural because they break their herds up into small sections. Because one Fulani may own maybe 1,500 head of cattle, but if he goes across a border into another country, and if the military are there, they'll stop him and they'll count his cattle, and he's taxed according to the number of cattle he has. But if they got a small group of cattle and the rest of the small herds get across, then they only have to pay maybe for 100 head instead of 1,000. So that's why I say herds when they go across. And now with these particular breeds of cattle, they're also subject to getting hoof and mouth, or I'm drawing a blank here. Hoof and mouth disease. Hoof and mouth disease. Now, when an animal gets a hoof and mouth disease, they don't normally die. They get thin, and they don't reproduce. But the mission is that all they want to do is keep these animals alive, because this is their walking bank account. And so when they need some extra money or some money to buy something, they'll sell a few cows to get the money.
Okay, well today, I promised you a new one to try and identify. Since you were able to do that with such ease, I have this one here for you.
This is interesting. Where was this found, Bill?
I will not tell you. That's your job is to figure that one out. Where in the world, and what do you think it is?
Well, that could be a horn on a rhino.
No.
No. It's not a tusk. Bill, I don't know. I can't answer your question. I don't know.
Now that's an unusual one, is it not?
It's very unusual.
Okay, let's back up here and how old do you think?
Very, very old.
Okay.
Very, very old. For it to be sloughing off like this, it's going to be hundreds of years old.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay? Well, now I'll give you as a hint. We got that in Malta, Montana.
Yeah.
And we got it next to a cliff, buried in a stream bed in the Little Cottonwood Creek.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what I think it is, and maybe you'll agree with me. In Malta, Montana, was an area where there was a lot of what's called buffalo jumps. Mm-hmm. And what the Indians would do is they'd create two walls of stone leading to a jump.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
And then they push the buffalo over the jump, and they'd kill what they could kill, needed to kill, and what would be wounded, they'd lock in a penned area with brush, because some of the animals would have broken legs. And they would then go and they would then operate on the cow, the buffalo, and take what they wanted in the form of meat, and they would create great big bone piles. And over the centuries of doing this, the bone piles got to be fairly large, and this particular area floods. And when it would flood, the bones would be washed into the creek and the bed streams, and then hundreds of years later, when another flood comes along, those bones get washed up. And that was found in a stream bed on the Little Cottonwood Creek north of Malta, Montana, near the Canadian border. Mm. So I believe that is a buffalo horn.
You know, I would have a tendency to, as you're talking, I'm envisioning this on a buffalo. And I probably would agree with you on that. Yes. But it's very, very old.
Oh, yes. I would say...
Very, very old. For a horn to be sloughing off like this and disintegrating, that's an old horn.
Well, I got you on that one.
Yeah, you sure did.
Okay. Yep. Well, thank you very much, Jim.
You know, I tell you something. When I said it was a rhino horn, I knew I was wrong right away, because rhinos is not a horn. It's keratin. It's compressed hair. And as soon as I said that, I knew it was wrong. Interesting, Bill.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
This is Mike Hurst from Highland Hill Farm. I am one of the crew leaders that goes out and delivers and plants trees. Every crew leader that we send out has an education and has been graduated from either some sort of university or higher learning schools. Behind me is a 5 to 6 foot tall green giant. These green giants, when we grade them, we do not grade them from the bottom of the ball. We grade them from the top of the ball to the end of the main body of the tree. And they all would be 5 to 6 foot tall if you order a 5 to 6 foot tall tree. We have green giants, Leland cypresses, Norway spruce, white pines, and many, many other types of evergreen border plants for you to buy.